Hi YouTube, Jeremy here with Simple Little Life, and today is day 15 of the 30-day video challenge. Halfway there. It's exciting. Today I've just got a little project. I'm going to take you along for the ride. In a previous video I'd done in part of an RV living series, I'd showed you this Dyson SV6. I love this little vacuum. It's fantastic. Part of the problem we're having with it though is that the charger is kind of being finicky. This is it right here, and we basically had to tape this thing up in order to get this cable connected properly to charge at all. Unfortunately, there's no screws to get into this thing, but I need to get into here and figure out what's going on. So we're gonna stick this in the bench vise, and we might have to get a little medieval on it, but we're gonna go ahead and figure this out. That's kind of part of homesteading, and the homesteading mentality is that you try and fix things yourself, repair things yourself. You can order these separately online, but I think they're like 60 bucks, and you know, if I destroy it while trying to fix it, I'll just buy a new one, but I may as well try to save that money first. So let's see what we can do. All right, so we're gonna take this tape off. Gorilla tape, this stuff is amazing. Ah. I guess I did a better job taping this up than I thought. Okay, so we need into this. They don't want me into this. Let's try like this. Oh my goodness. Come on, Dyson. Well, that broke. I heard a snap. I think that's a good sign. That means something's happening. Ah, we cracked it right there. Excellent. Ha ha ha. I win. Oh boy. Maybe that wasn't the right thing to do. Okay, so we're into it, but I didn't realize there'd be all that circuitry in there. Maybe that's why they didn't want you in it. Okay, now that we're into it, let's see if we can push this thing out. My goodness, they really put this together well. They do not want you doing this, that's for sure. Haven't broken anything yet. So let's find out. I don't know if there's any live capacitors in here or what. So, look at that. I think that's kind of garbage. Look at this. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if that's, it's like glue or some crap they put on there. It's not even solder. Ah. I'm going to see. Very carefully plug this thing in. An extension cord. I would recommend you don't do this at home, because if you get hurt, I don't want you to say that I showed you how to do this. Grab this here so it doesn't get away on us. Let's plug this thing in. Okay, and when I plug this in, these little LED lights should light up, and they don't. Now we have absolutely nothing happening. It used to be I could wiggle this, and these LED lights right there would go on, and now they don't. Let's see what's happening. Okay, let's make sure we have power coming into the thing. Yep, we got power there, but we don't have power here. Okay, let's see if we can get some power readings off of this. I wonder if I can read it on the back of the circuit board. I don't even know. There, right there. Oh, I had something there. What do we have? What do we have? 26 volts DC. But if we check this, oh, it won't fit in there. No power coming there. So this tells me everything's working, and now I don't know if you noticed that light just went on. Why? Basically, we've got power. All the circuitry here seems all right. But that's the problem, is that thing is so intermittent. If you'll notice, this light right here is one you see. Oh my goodness, that's frustrating. Okay, so what we're gonna do unplug this. Let's see if we can take these wires off, clean out this goop in here. We'll see if we can't clean out this white stuff, and maybe we'll have to retrim these wires, maybe resolder the connection. I'm not exactly sure. It's worth a try. So let's just try scraping some of this white stuff. Now you need to watch out for capacitors. I don't know a lot about them, but I do know that some of them can actually hold electricity. Obviously I think the most I could get from this would be like 120 volt AC, but I'd rather not get any. I'm just gonna clean all this goop off of here. There we go. I'm wondering if we actually have a problem with the wire. I'm gonna see if I have any voltage between those two. Guess I need to plug it in first. Going hot. Touch the wire, I should be getting voltage. There, I've got 26 volts. I truly think that the issue is in these cables here. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean off all this white junk that they have here. And these cables basically go through the circuit board and are soldered right here and right here. I'm gonna get my soldering iron, I'm gonna heat these up and remove these wires. I'm gonna cut this back to like right here and try putting new connection in to the circuit board and see if that will solve our problem. Okay, all I have for a soldering iron right now here is this big honking thing, but it should work. A small soldering iron would definitely be more useful. Cut that one out. Be very careful to get just the right one. That's the right one. Now we just need to clean up some of that solder, get it out of the way. Okay, there we go. Now we've exposed those two holes again, so when we reinsert the wires, they'll just go right up into there. And I've actually got to look back at the footage that I just recorded because I forget which wire was on which side. It's a good thing I'm recording this. So this is the end that we took off, and I think the culprit is right in here. I think we've got a bad connection there, so we'll go ahead and cut this. And see if we can resave this plug thingy. Nope. Yeah, they don't make anything serviceable anymore. Just trying to get the outer casing of the cable off of this. Sorry about this, guys. I had to switch cameras. My other camera is not as easy to film with, and it fills up the SD cards, and I have to have faster cards, and I only have one, and it's 4 gigs, so I wasted that. I used that card up in the previous part of this video, so now I'm switching to the old video, which takes much smaller files. But basically, when I did the continuity test, I found that this wire here was broken. That's why we're not getting any charging to our battery. So let's see if we can splice this end here. Should be clean, should have full continuity all the way through, and resolder it to our circuit board. Okay, so I'd like to reuse this little connection thing. Just helps alleviate maybe a strain relief, you could call it. But they've got some serious glue in there, so what I'm gonna try and do is just with the sharp point of a very small screwdriver, see if I can cut that adhesive off of there, and then eventually just get all that crap out. Okay, I think she's good now. There we go. Now, before we do anything else, we'll thread this back through there. Oops, through here first, sorry. And then through here. Okay, there we go. Now, cut this outer casing very carefully. I wonder if that'll be enough. That should be enough. What we'll do is we'll cut these little threads, insulating threads, and then we'll do our little cut for the wire. Often wires like this, you can just use your thumbnail and pull them off. Okay, you don't want to get that too dirty so it solders well. I think we're basically ready to try and solder this thing back up. You know what? I never even checked if I have solder. I hope I have some solder. Oh, I'm gonna check my footage I'd taken earlier to find out which color goes to which post, because I forget. Okay, so I went back and checked the footage, and indeed, this yellow wire goes into this post this little hole in the circuit board, and the black wire goes onto this one on the furthest outside. So it's a bit of a tricky part here, but what we want to do is try and thread these through. Those are tiny holes. I'm actually going to get a very small drill bit and drill through those holes. Hopefully that should just be enough. This finicky work is kind of hard for my not so finicky hands. There we go. So put this in here like this. Keep those wires coming up like that. And see if we can do this or not. Oh boy, Mr. Shaky Hands today. So what I want to do is heat up the wire and then let the solder go into the wire. I'd rather not touch the solder directly to the iron. Better option is to heat the wire first. But I'm gonna have to come on the board here and get this thing started. Well, something's globbing on there. Really, a much smaller soldering iron would be ideal. Good, now I'm gonna trim that little piece and then we will solder the other side. I hope this works. Okay. One thing you want to make very sure of when you're soldering boards like this is that you're not soldering any other, these little lines that are silver, those are all little circuits, and it's basically they use that as electrical pathways instead of wire. So you want to make sure you don't get solder on any of those. It's a little bit finicky, but usually if you just have some patience, it'll work. Word, look at my hands go. Call me shaky bones. There, I think that's good. Now, again, we'll just trim this little bit off. And I think we can test it now. Okay, here's the test. Man, I got a mess going on. I hope this thing doesn't just start smoking and go. Let's unplug this first in case something goes wrong. We'll only be wrecking this part of it. So far, so good. Ha! Ha ha ha! Look at that, it's charging. Yes! Okay, now let's try and put it all together again. Basically, we'll move this thing down to the end again. Some strain relief. I should probably glue that, but you know what? I've got something else I'm going to do later. Slide this whole issue back together. I should have taken a note of how exactly this came out, but it's too late for that. We got to figure this out. Okay, so I see there's little slots that hold that circuit board in this housing. I don't know if you can really see that or not. There's a little groove on this side and this side, and that's what the circuit board is supposed to slide into. Okay. Okay, that's that. This on here. So this thing may end up just getting taped together anyways, but as long as it charges, I don't even care. With it all back together, works. It's charging. I might put a little glue on here. I'm gonna put silicone on there. It's removable. All right, so we're actually just gonna put a little bit of silicone on this. Don't really want it to be any real nasty adhesive. It'd be nice if it had a little something just to keep it together. And I'm even gonna tape it together when I'm all done. This is a bush league repair, but honestly, I'm not buying a new one, so I can live with bush league for some things. This. All back together, just like a factory unit. And I'm gonna gob some silicone on here too, just so it has an extra little bit of strain relief protection. Doesn't that look nice? Man, that looks nice. Let that dry. Like this. Just silicone off my hands and good to go. All right, well there you have a little fix to the Dyson charger. And I just say this, I am not an electronics guy. I'm not like, I don't do electronics. I know enough to be dangerous. Most of that came from when I was a kid, building stuff, taking stuff apart, mostly just wrecking things. But I thought if the charger was broken anyways, the only thing I could wind up with is a broken charger or a working charger. And those chargers being $60 plus shipping, I just saved myself 60 bucks and it took less than 20 minutes. So This is kind of the mentality that you need to have when you're homesteading and trying to be self-sufficient. Is a lot of things you can try to repair them, and even if you don't know how or exactly what's wrong, if it's broken, what's there to lose by taking it apart anyways? So hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. Cheers.